sit like side on, and then literally just spin your legs up. So your bum is right against the wall. Legs are up, and then just relax the shoulders down into the back. If your hamstrings feel tight, you can sort of just bend the knees. You don't have to have them fully straight, or take your bum a bit further away. And then just start to focus on gentle breaths in and out of the nose. You can have your palms up towards the ceiling or hands resting on belly. And bring your awareness to your breath. So gentle inhales through the nose. Add a slight pause, and then a gentle long exhale. And add another pause, and just repeat those long inhales and exhales. Increase the amount of time that you add that pause for after the inhale and the exhale. And just let that happen naturally. Feel the tension draining away from the legs, the blood flow to the brain. Just notice the sensations in the body. Every time you exhale, allow everything to sink down into the ground. And just relax. So you can stay here for a bit longer if that feels good. Otherwise, we'll take the legs wide. So you can let the legs open wide into that more sort of pancake position. Just feel the inner thighs stretching. You shouldn't get any discomfort on the inside of your knees. So if you do, you might need to just bend the knees slightly or take the stance a little bit narrower. Again, each exhale, just relaxing down. Gradually over time, maybe you're able to take the legs even wider. Listen to the sound of the breath. Feel the cool air as it draws in and the warm air on the exhale. And from here, we're going to take the feet together and the knees open into a butterfly position. We want to allow the soles of the feet to turn up. And then from where you are, you might just want to press one knee towards the wall. So you're pushing down onto that thigh, draw it back in and then press onto the other side. Or maybe place the hands on both thighs and press both legs towards the wall. Just moving in and out of that, stretching into the groin, also into the adductors. You can also squeeze the glutes and feel the muscles in your bum actually allowing the hips to open. So as you squeeze the glutes, feel the hips opening. It's like you're trying to pull the knees towards the wall. From there, bring your feet onto the wall. So you're in more of a squat position. And just hang out in that squat for a moment. And all we're going to do is take one knee in towards the wall. So internally rotate the hip and then take the other knee in. And just do some gentle hip rotations. You can also go in and out. So one knee goes in, the other knee goes out. So we do a bit of internal and external rotation. And feel free to hold it. So if one side feels particularly tight, you can just hold it there, breathe into it. Relax on the exhales. And then switch. Then back into that squat. Take your right hand towards your right ankle. And then just reach the left arm up on the floor and look up towards that hand. So adding a slight twist. From there, bring the left hand to the left ankle and then reach the right arm up. And you can either stay there or alternate side to side. Okay, and from here, we're going to bring the palms together and press the knees open. So it's like Malasana when you're in a deep squat. We're just drawing the knees towards each other and then pressing them open, palms together. If you want a deeper stretch, then squeeze your fists and press the knuckles together as the knees open. Okay, from this position, we're just going to hug the knees in to the chest, so the feet slightly come off the wall, and we'll go for some twists either side. So gently take your knees down to one side as you extend the opposite arm and look towards that hand. So there's a rotation in the spine. You can place your bottom arm underneath your bottom thigh to allow that to be a little bit more comfortable if it feels too intense. Otherwise, take your hand on top of that thigh as you twist. And just breathe. So we're going to bring both palms to touch. So the arm that's reaching away, we're going to close that up, bringing it all the way up and over towards the bottom arm. So you're now lying on your side in a ball with the palms together. I'm going to do 10 rotations from here. So the top arm opens up, look over towards the hand, and then bring it all the way back over again. And you can either choose to open it up, going straight up and over, or you can glide this top hand all the way along the floor, all the way around and open. It should feel really nice just to get into the mid upper back. Just keep moving, breathing through the nose. You can keep the eyes closed and just feel the sensation in the body as we add those rotations. When you bring the palms together, try to also press through the bottom shoulder so you don't sink into it. We'll do a couple more on this side. From there, we're going to tightly hug the knees in and bring yourself back onto your back. So knees are drawn in towards the chest. And we'll do the same on the other side. So take the knees down to the opposite side. And just first of all, breathe into that twist. So you're looking towards the opposite arm, feeling that rotation. You can place your hand on top of your thighs to help anchor them down, or place it underneath for a bit of support. And from here, we'll lie onto our side, palms together, so palms touching. And now we're just going to open that top arm up and over towards the ground. And you can do so just like you're opening and closing a book, or you can let the top hand glide all the way up and around on the floor, looking over towards the hand. And we'll do that roughly 10 times. Press through the bottom shoulder so you don't sink into it. Try not to let the legs lift up as you rotate. Don't worry if your hand doesn't touch the floor completely. Just go to where you can in that rotation. Couple more. Then from there, tightly draw the knees in, back onto your back. And we'll go into our happy baby. So we're going to draw the knees towards the armpits, hold on to either the outer edges of the feet, ankles, calves, or backs of thighs. You can also dive them in through the middle and hold the heels. You want to press the lower back down into the floor and just gently rock side to side. It should feel nice. Keep the eyes closed. Loosening off tension into the lower back and the hips. And you shouldn't feel like the spine is really rounding. So try to flatten the lower back down on the ground. And if you can't, just take your hands further down the legs. Let go of the feet, hug the knees in. We're going to roll onto our side and then bring ourselves up nice and slowly onto the mat. We'll come into a tabletop position in your own time, don't rush. So from our tabletop, we'll start by just sliding the hands up to the top corners of the mat. You can take the forehead down or the chest down and just breathe into it. Feel that stretch into the front of the shoulders. The hips are above the knees. Have a little go at turning your thumbs to point up towards the ceiling. From there, send your bum back towards your heels. Take your knees wide and the big toes will touch. So we're in this sort of child's pose position. Press the bum back to the heels. Each exhale, just tell your body to relax, let it sink down. We're going to walk the hands around to one side as far as you can, so you get a nice lateral stretch all the way through the ribs and into the outer hip. Keep pressing your bum back, just breathe into it. Feeling that stretch between the ribs, into the lats. And then walk them around to the opposite side. Bring your hands back to the center. And then from our child's pose, we're just going to reach one arm underneath the other. So add a twist. Pressing the bum back still, just press through the bottom shoulder as well. Feel that rotation and stretch into the back of the shoulder. You can then lift the hips higher so they're above the knees. And then switch to the other side. So bring yourself out and thread the other arm underneath. From here, coming out, we're going to stay in this position, but then take the knees really wide. So we're going to add that rotation again, but this time in a frog stretch. So take the knees out wide, inner edges of the feet are on the floor. And you've got knees and ankles in line. So if you look back, you should have inner edges of the feet on the floor, hips and knees in line, knees and ankles in line. And then from that frog stretch, we're just going to reach that arm through and under again to add a twist from there. The top arm can reach all the way up and overhead. And you're sort of looking underneath that armpit, but you can have your eyes closed. Press through the bottom shoulder as well. Slowly coming out of that rotation, the same on the other side. Reaching the arm underneath. The top arm can go all the way overhead. And then just bring the arms back onto the ground. We're going to bring the big toes to touch, send the bum to the heels, and then open the hips forward. So you're just going to move in and out, sending the bum back, opening the hips to the front. You can have big toes touching, or you can have the feet wider, back in that full frog position. And then lying onto your front, trying to press the hips down into the ground, bring the soles of the feet to touch. Now this position can feel particularly tight, but you might be open enough to get your feet all the way to the floor. So if you can, then do. Otherwise, make sure that you don't compensate by lifting the hips off the ground. So you shouldn't have a gap under here. We want to press the hips down. And you can just make a cushion with your forearms and just rest your head on top of the forearms. Each exhale, just trying to relax a little bit more. And then nice and slowly, we'll come back up onto the hands, send the bum back towards the feet. From here, we're going to bring the hands forwards, come back up into a tabletop position. So we've got hands under shoulders and knees under hips. Just make some circles through the spine, rolling around, pressing out laterally through the trunk of the body, rounding out at the top, pressing out through the other side, and then extending the spine, opening the chest and the bottom. And just alternate, keep changing direction. Keep breathing through the nose. And then from here, all we're going to do is step our right foot forward into a lunge, and you can use yoga blocks to hold on to. So in this lunge position, we're allowing the back hip flexors to stretch and open. So we're going to squeeze the back glute and press the hip forward. Nice deep lunge. Having your hands supported can feel a bit more comfortable if you're not used to this position. Otherwise, you can do so without holding on to anything. Keep squeezing the back glutes, the back hips opening nicely. Feeling the hip flexors getting a good stretch. From there, we're going to send the hips back. Again, you can use your blocks. You can come up and pull the front toes up. You can also choose to point the front foot. So it depends on how tight the calf muscles feel. So you can point the toes or pull the toes up. And then you're going to push your bum back and hinge over. So obviously hands can be on the floor as well. And just breathe into that space. You want to be feeling this in the hamstrings, not the back of your knee. So if you feel the back of your knee, then bend the knee slightly so that you feel the stretch move into the hamstrings. Once again, just breathing in out the nose. You might feel good to rotate the hip slightly, turning the foot in and out, feeling different areas of the hamstrings getting a stretch. And the more you're here, think about tilting your pelvis forwards and you'll feel the hamstrings even more rather than rounding out. So tilt the pelvis forwards and open the chest. Imagine you're taking your belly button to that thigh. We're going to go back into the hips. Once again, squeezing the glutes, pressing the hip open. You can also have a go at a longer lunge. So the front knee is above the ankle rather than over it. And that might feel like an even better stretch as well. You can keep the arms down or raise them up. Do what feels good. We'll go back into the hamstrings again. So hips go back, pull the front toes up. You can bend the knee and just rotate the hip. Keep tilting the pelvis forwards. Keep drawing the belly button towards the thigh. Feel the front thigh bone drawing back and up into the hip. And then we'll come back to the front, press through the hands and just take that front leg back into tabletop. We'll do the same on the other side. So stepping the left foot forward, use the blocks for assistance again if you need to, and just open that back hip, squeeze the glutes, keeping the shoulders nice and up and back. Getting a good stretch into the hip flexors. Every exhale, just allowing the body to open a bit more. We can also have that front knee above the ankle rather than in front. You can hook your back toes as well if you get discomfort in the knee. See if it helps. And then when you're ready, we'll go back into the hips. So send the hips back, come into the hamstrings. And you can straighten or bend that front leg. Hands can be on blocks or on the floor. Rotate at the hip. Foot turns in and out, but it's the hip that's rotating. Find an area that might feel tight. Take a breath in. As you exhale, just relax into it a bit more. Keep tilting the pelvis forwards, drawing the belly down towards the thigh. And then we'll go back into the hips again. So knee above ankle, open that back hip, squeeze the glutes. Arms can be by your sides or reach them up and overhead, anything that feels good for you. And we'll go back into the hamstrings again. Hinging over, tilt the pelvis forwards, rotate the thigh. Think about the thigh drawing in and up into the hip. And then when you're ready, come forwards and take that leg back. So we're back into our tabletop. We're going to sit onto our bum and just allow the hips to rotate side to side. So you can lean right back if you need to, otherwise sit up tall and just passively, internally and externally rotate your hips. We'll come from here into pigeon. So for pigeon, you might need to elevate your front thigh using yoga blocks, or you can do reclining pigeon. Reclining pigeon is lying on your back, taking one foot on top of the thigh. Should be feeling it into the outer hip and glute, so you can stay there. Otherwise, from your rotations, pick a side, doesn't matter which side you start on, we'll do both. And then you can stay 90-90 and hinge over that front leg, or tuck the back leg under, maybe use blocks for assistance. Really squaring the hips above the ground. You can choose to do a bit of a mixture of sitting up tall and pressing through the legs, and then hinging over and folding, or you could just stay folded over if that feels good. And we'll be here for a couple of minutes. So allow yourself to rest and relax. Breathe in and out of the nose and just feel the hips opening. Shouldn't get any pain in your knee, okay? So anything funky going on in the knee, make sure you come out. And close the eyes and just focus on gentle inhales and exhales. When you're ready, come up onto your hands, slowly come out. We'll go on to the other side. So you can take your block with you if you use the block. Otherwise, just rotate to the other side. Slowly come into pigeon there as well. Once again, shouldn't feel anything in the knee. Just feel outer hip and glute, maybe the top of the hamstrings a little bit. Just allow your breath to lengthen and soften. Anytime your mind drifts off, just bring your awareness back to your breathing and back to the sensations in your body. Slowly start to come up, bringing yourself out. And we'll go for a pancake from here. So you can elevate your hips for pancake, or you can go for a half pancake. So it might be that you have one leg out, tuck the other foot in, hinge over with that one leg in. Otherwise, we can have both legs out, maybe bum up on a block, but think about tilting your pelvis forwards. And we'll spend a good few minutes here to allow you to kind of build into it. So don't rush to be able to fold right forwards. But think about tilting the pelvis forwards as if you're going to draw your belly button to the floor. And you can have hands either side of the hips helping to press you forwards, or hands out in front. If you get any pain in the knee or discomfort in the knee, bend the knees slightly, or place like cushions underneath your knees. That can help. And then just use your breath at each exhale. We're trying to find some more space and go into this position deeper. Every time you inhale, you might want to come up a little bit and relax, and then exhale, go in a bit more. So just do what feels good. And you can choose to hold it, or you can do a little flow with me if it feels good for you. So I'm going to come up, sit tall, and go for a lateral bend. So one hand goes across your waist, reach up and over, lengthen out through the ribs, come all the way up, switch to the opposite side, and you're expanding and really expanding out through the top side of the ribs. Come all the way up, and then from there, hands can either go to your hips or out in front, hinge over, and just repeat that cycle. So then you come up again, laterally bend, and again laterally bend. Maybe the arms can come all the way up overhead if you're flexible enough to hinge all the way over and forwards, and back up. A couple more times through. And then in your fold this time, stay in that fold at the front. Keep thinking about tilting your pelvis forwards like you're trying to take your belly button to the ground. And that will help stop your upper back wanting to round as well. So think about keeping the chest open. If you lift the eyes forward, that'll help as well. You can keep imagining you're reaching for something to help pull you into it a bit deeper. If you engage the quadricep muscles, the muscles on top of the thighs, so above the knee, so pull up on those, that will also help the hamstrings lengthen. So you're using the strength in your hips to help pull you into it. Will really slowly come up, and you can start to bend the legs and then slowly shuffle them in. From here, you can go back into a frog stretch one more time. So knees wide, inner edges of the feet on the ground, stretching into the inner hips. But this time in your frog stretch, have a go at extending one leg out to the side and just gently moving in and out. And then switching to the other leg, extending that out to the side, moving in and out. Okay, you can continue to stay here in frog, or to get into your quadriceps, work into the thighs. We're going to lie on our back, have one leg straight, the opposite foot goes to the outside of the hip. Press the hips up using the glutes. And you can stay on the hands or work your way down onto the forearms. And this is just one leg at a time, but if your flexibility allows it, you can go into a kneeling position with both your feet outside your hips, so don't sit on your heels. Squeeze your bum, press the hips up, and then maybe work down onto the forearms, or even lying all the way down onto your back. But if you do lie all the way down, you shouldn't feel it in your lower back. So you need to make sure you're tucking the bum under and pushing the hips up. You can have hands by your sides or overhead. Just feeling the tension going away from the front of the body. And in those hip flexors, release, the lower belly release, thighs release. Relax on every exhale. Stay here for another full minute. Keep making sure you're tucking the bum under. Feel the lower ribs draw down rather than flare out. And slowly in your own time, you can press through the arms to come halfway up and then slowly come all the way up to the top. We'll lie onto our back into our happy baby. It might feel nice to just stretch out the spine a bit more. So you can come into a plow stretch by rocking onto your shoulders, holding your hips, pressing through the backs of the arms and the shoulders, not the neck. You can draw the knees towards your head, maybe extend the legs over. And then stay there as long as you like. Otherwise, roll all the way down onto your back. You can go to a happy baby or have feet together, knees open. Anywhere you want to just relax for a couple of minutes, maybe have legs up the wall. Just with each exhale, feel the body sink down into the mat. And bring your awareness to your breathing. So gentle inhales, gentle exhales, almost allowing the breath to come to a place where you can barely even hear it. As you inhale, feel the expansion of the ribs and the belly rise. As you exhale, feel the belly soften, everything sinking down. Whenever you feel ready, you can start to invite a bit of movement into the body. Maybe just wiggling the toes, maybe circling the ankles. If you're lying on the ground, you can go for a full body stretch. If your legs are up the wall, you might want to take the legs wide to pancake or go for a little twist either side, anything that feels good. And in your own time, we'll slowly start to come up. Just in your own time, don't rush it. And then when you're sitting up, just allow yourself a bit of time to readjust. Give the shoulders a little roll forwards and back. And we're just going to gently take the neck through some rotations. So from your seated position, just slowly take the chin all the way down to the chest. Feel that stretch into the back of the neck. And then gently turning the head, looking over one shoulder. Keep the jaw closed and then softly lift the chin, working your way across to the other side. Looking over the opposite shoulder and then draw the chin back down. We'll then reverse it from there, take it across, looking over the shoulder, gently lifting, across to the opposite side, down to the bottom, and then release all the way up to the top. Going back to a neutral position. We're going to take one hand behind us and the opposite hand across the body onto the knee, and then take a breath in through the nose. As you exhale, twist, looking over that shoulder, holding it there, breathing into it. Couple of rounds of breath, and each exhale, see if you can twist a bit deeper. Slowly come back to the center and switch to the opposite side. Keep leading with the chest. On your inhale, you can slightly release, and on the exhale, twist a bit further. Gently come back to the center. And then last of all, just come into a lateral reach. So when you're ready to, we'll take one hand out to the side, take a breath in, reach the other arm up. As you exhale, reaching all the way up and over, expanding out through the top side of the ribs. Holding it there and breathing into it. Trying to find more length each round of breath. You can also bend the top arm if it feels good, or keep it straight, whichever you prefer. Slowly come up, same on the other side, reach up and over. And then bring yourself up. Once you're at the top, you can open the chest and then round out, just moving between those two positions. Open the chest and then round out through the back. Once more. Inhaling as you open the chest, exhaling as you flex. And then make a couple of circles. So just roll around through the trunk of the body, nice big circles. Trying to move nice and fluid. From there, you might work through a couple of crunches and clicks and just give yourself a little roll with the shoulders forwards and back. Maybe hunch them up, drop them down, just relax. Well done. Hopefully you feel a little bit more relaxed for that.